My only goal in the NHL is to win the Stanley Cup. There's not a player in the NHL that doesn't dream about that.
It's huge because it's the last goal that I have left in the NHL at this point in time in my career, is to win a Stanley Cup on another hockey team.
When I grew up in Russia, they didn't know too much about Stanley Cup. You can't get so many chances to win.
The pinnacle of a professional hockey player is a Stanley Cup, and probably it's the most difficult trophy to win in all of sports.
The New York Rangers, haunted for 54 years by visiting city chants of 1940, and the reality that it's been a lifetime for most since the Rangers last won the coveted Stanley Cup. Talk of curses and hexes since 1941, when Red Dutton's rival New York Americans were forced out of Madison Square Garden. Dutton vowing the Rangers would never win another Stanley Cup in his lifetime.
As far as all these curses and that, I don't believe in that kind of nonsense, but I feel sorry for the fans, and I hope they get their wish pretty soon.
They've got good depth, they've got good speed, and I'd say this is their best chance to win this Stanley Cup since maybe 1940.
The fact that there is some history here from 1940, I think it only enhances the excitement about the prospects of success, and I think the team is feeding off of that.
All cities want their team to win, obviously, but this has become city possessed. That 1940 looms so big in everybody's craw, and we hope that it's a pressure that may come to play against the actual players.
1940 was 28 years before I was born, so with that in mind, you put it in the past, and I think you ask anyone on the team, there's not a better place to play than New York, and not a better organization than the Rangers.
The Rangers, with an NHL best 112 points in the regular season, opened the playoffs against their arch rivals from Long Island. Mike Richter posted consecutive shutouts in games 1 and 2, the first Ranger to do so since Davy Kerr back in 1940. The Rangers completely dominated in the 4-game sweep. The Rangers dispensed of another Atlantic Division rival, the Washington Caps, in the Eastern Conference semis. Brian Leetch scoring the game-winning goal late in Game 5, propelling New York to the conference finals for the first time in 8 seasons. The New Jersey Devils in the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 1988. It took several trips through the Lincoln Tunnel to decide this one. The Rangers had won all 6 meetings in the regular season, but the Devils took a 3-2 lead in the best of 7 by winning Game 5 on Garden Ice. Then Mark Messier's bold guarantee that the Rangers would win Game 6, evoking memories of Joe Willie Namath's vow before Super Bowl III.
Moving it over the devil line, cuts to the slot, feeds Messier, backhands, he scores! Messier has tied it at 2. Drops it for Kovalev, left circle, slap shot, save, rebound, score! Messier! Messier! And the Rangers take a 3-2 lead. Messier gets it back, shoots it all the way down, he scores! Messier hits the open net. That's the hat trick for Captain Mark Messier.
They were saying that I was guaranteeing a win, and it wasn't really about that. It was about trying to regain the confidence in the team and make sure the team had the confidence that we come here and do it. And I guess better careful next time.
The Rangers then went out and won Game 7 in double overtime.
Matteau swoops in to intercept. Matteau behind the net, swings it in front. He scores! Matteau! Stefan Matteau! And the Rangers have one more hill to climb, baby! But it's not Vancouver! The Rangers are headed to the finals!
Vancouver's playoff odyssey began at the Saddledome in picturesque Calgary. The Flames held a commanding 3-1 lead in the best of 7, but the Canucks battled back, engineering one of the most memorable comebacks in NHL playoff history.
Here's a chance now for Courtnall. Courtnall going in alone. He shoots, scores! Jeff Courtnall has extended the life of the Vancouver Canucks to Game 6. Murray getting set. Lets the shot go through traffic. They jam away. They score!
The deciding 7th game went to double overtime. A spectacular save by Kirk McLean on Warren Reichel kept the Canucks from the throes of defeat.
Brown, a long pass to Pavel Bure. In the clear, right in. Yeah, he scores! Pavel Bure has won it in overtime at 2:20 of the second overtime.
We didn't talk about 3 games, we have to win 3 games. We just said, okay guys, tonight we have to win, we got no choice. And we win 1, we win 2, we win 3.
I've been on teams before when you're down 3 games to 1. You're thinking, oh, I just want to go home, this and that, and you know, it's been a decent year type thing, but not this year because we weren't satisfied with what we've done during the regular season. I think that helped us, you know, to perform better in the playoffs.
So it was on to the Western Conference semifinals where the Canucks advanced by beating the Dallas Stars in 5 games. The Western Conference finals between Vancouver and Toronto. The Maple Leafs 1 step away from the finals for the 2nd straight year. Pavel Bure was at his absolute best in Game 3 with 2 goals on breakaways, leading to a 4-0 win. Kirk McLean recorded 2 shutouts in the 5-game series, which was decided in double overtime.
Linden carries the puck into the Toronto zone, turning off the left boards. Back at the line to Babbage. Long shot. Putman had trouble with it. Adams should score. Greg Adams. Greg Adams. Adams gets the winner. 14 seconds into the second overtime. The Vancouver Canucks are going to the Stanley Cup final.
The Vancouver Canucks hoping to join the 1915 Vancouver Millionaires, that city's only Stanley Cup champion, while the New York Rangers seek their first Stanley Cup title in 54 years. The sports world awaits the crowning of a new champion.
Stanley Cup Finals and we're here. Can't get better than this. I'm still trying to figure out what a Canuck is. Are the Rangers going to win? Look at these colors. It looks like the circus must be back in town. Let's go Rangers!
Go Rangers!
This the scene inside a near-empty Madison Square Garden, 2 hours before Game 1's opening face-off. Quite a different mood. The intensity starting to build. The Rangers and Canucks making final preparations for what many in New York were predicting to be a short series.
The New York Rangers and Vancouver Canucks have hit the Garden ice.
The matchups in goal, Mike Richter for New York against Vancouver's Kirk McLean, who was looking for his first career win against the Rangers. With the team skating 4 aside, the Rangers open the scoring.
Leach moves in. Back pass to Kovalov. Kovalov, nice move. He shoots. Save McLean. Rebound score! Oh, baby!
A check of the replay shows the puck actually deflected off McLean's skate and into the net. On to the 3rd period. Canucks on the power play, still trailing 1-0.
Kicked away. Save McLean. It's Messier going in there. Stop by McLean.
Then on a delayed penalty call on the Rangers, Jurke Lume with the shot. Brett Hedican putting home the rebound. Only his 2nd career goal, and it was all tied at 1. Less than 3 minutes later.
Pass to Leach, went off his stick, bounces down, gains control. Leach turns, pass for Kovalov, he scores! Beautiful pass by Brian Leach to Alexei Kovalov. 2-1, Rangers lead.
Just over a minute left in regulation. The Rangers still holding on to that 1-goal lead.
The shot right on. Score! Richter stopped it and couldn't find it, and he couldn't hang on to it. And the Vancouver Canucks have come back to tie it here with a minute left in the 3rd period.
Martin Gellin accredited with the tying goal. The Rangers, for the 3rd time in 8 games, give up the equalizer in the final minute of play. They go to overtime, tied at 2. Unfortunately for New York Jets quarterback Boomer Esiason, whose 3-year-old son Gunnar couldn't quite make it past the 3rd period. Well, he missed a terrific overtime and quite a show put on by Kirk McLean.
Here's Graves, saved by McLean. Taken in, comes out in front, he shoots, save McLean, rebound, another save. Messier for Graves, save McLean, he did it again. Larner leaves it for Tikkanen for the shot, save, rebound. A save, rebound, another save. McLean will not allow that puck to get by him.
Canucks win this, it'll be like Jesse James was in town.
The Rangers with a decisive edge in overtime with 17 shots on goal, but McLean was spectacular. 52 saves in all, and some good fortune helped sway the outcome in Game 1.
Great play down the middle, reach, hit the crossbar! He hit the crossbar! 38 seconds left to go, 2-on-1 Adams in the middle. Craig Adams scored! The Vancouver Canucks have won it in overtime, 3-2! Craig Adams in a 2-on-1 break.
You know, it's hard to say if we deserve that game or not. They played a great game, and Kirk McLean was the story of that game.
I'll tell you, he made some game-saving saves tonight, and hats off to him. Without him tonight, would have been a different story, I guess.
It was a tough loss to give up a goal at the end in regulation and to lose at an OT like that, but you know, we got to come back.
We feel that we have the type of team that can overcome a hot goaltender like that. Tonight it didn't happen, but I don't know how many nights he can have that type of performance. I hope not too many more.
Vancouver walked out of here with a win tonight because of their goaltender, period.
Do you feel you stole one from the Rangers?
Well, I think so, yeah. You know, I think we all think that, and if we can play like that and win a game, you know, it's positive, and you know, we need to come in and win at least one of the two.
Kirk McLean, give him a kiss, boys, because he saved your life tonight.
Thank you.
There you go.
Good luck.
Thank you. The Rangers signing autographs for their fans at their Rye, New York practice site on this day after Game 1. It was June 1st, and despite the sign which says the Rangers practice only from October to April, they took to the ice determined to find a way to solve Kirk McLean, aware of the fact that only 5 teams in NHL history have bounced back to win the Cup after losing Game 1 at home.
We're going to have to put more traffic in front of him if we want to have more success.
If he makes 52 saves every game, you know, obviously we're in trouble, but that's probably not going to happen, and we've just got to get more traffic in front and keep putting the puck at the net.
The Vancouver Canucks trying to get to that next plateau, as well as the arena level for Game 2 at Madison Square Garden. Right behind the Canuck players, the arrival of the Canuck Mobile.
And I will drive 5,000 miles a year.
3 Vancouver fans drove this 1977 Matador across North America to watch their team in the finals.
Stanley Cup.
Get stolen tonight. Right, it doesn't belong here. This is New York.
Our first encounter with a Rangers fan was when we came through the border at Niagara Falls. And we drove up to the stall, and the officer said, "Please stop the car and turn off the engine." He stared at us and he said, "Rangers and 4 boys, get going."
Prior to Game 2, renowned sports artist Leroy Neiman working on a portrait of the Russian rocket Pavel Bure. And the Rangers immediately went to work on McLean, rushing the Vancouver netminder whenever possible. Former Canuck Doug Litzner making it 1-0 Rangers.
I don't score that often, and the fact that it was against my former team was nice, but it was more an emotion of, yes, we've gotten off to a good start.
Moments later, Sean Antosky nailed Litzner, who was penalized for retaliating. That set the tone for what would become a very hard-hitting game.
Oh, my. Look at the hit in the corner put on by Vukovic. Graves hit Babbage.
The Rangers playing shorthanded with Adam Graves in the penalty box midway through the second period.
Here comes Messier shorthanded. Messier pushes the puck up, forced him out of the net. Rolled wide, rebound, score! Glenn Anderson!
These guys did it so often in Edmonton. Now they have teamed up for a very big goal here in Game 2 in New York.
A short-handed goal, the second of the playoffs for the Rangers.
Moss made a great play by intercepting the pass that Linden was moving over to the far point man and got a partial breakaway.
You know, I think we played long enough to know that he would have been on my tail, and I knew that once the puck went by the net, if it just somehow got it in front there, hopefully he'd find a way to get there. And like I said, that's what he does. I mean, he just finds a way of scoring huge goals.
The Rangers doing a good job on Pavel Bure's line. Bure's 16-game playoff scoring streak coming to an end in Game 2. Both teams narrowly missed several scoring chances in this one, and Bure was one of many who hit the post.
Heavy metal is is in the National Hockey League.
The Rangers found themselves in the same situation as Game 1. Up 1 goal, trying to avoid another last-minute breakdown. Pat Quinn pulled McLean to get an extra skater and called timeout to set up one last scoring chance.
20 seconds to go. Jeff Brown across ice. Greg Adams moves in. Down the boards, Brown. Brown looking to center in front. And the shot deflected wide. Leeds clears the zone. It's heading for the empty net. The Rangers will win. An empty net goal clinches Game 2 for the New York Rangers.
All right, no overtime, thank God.
We were sitting at lunch today, and Adam Graves said there's one of the best money players in the game, referring to Anderson. And as he walked away, saying before this is over, he'll score at least one big goal. And sure enough, he gets the game winner tonight.
You've got to be as dangerous as offense as they are, and we're having trouble, especially our line. We're not doing a very good job offensively, and we've got to make them pay for any 3-on-2s they give us.
It was win this game. We have to win this game. It was no or else, but we knew we had to win this one.
We didn't play that as well as we wanted to, and we're still in the game. But if there's anything good that comes out of it, we did get the split, and I have to look forward to playing the 2 games in Vancouver now.
Right now, best of the 5, so we're in a good position.
Bing, bang, boom is going to describe this Stanley Cup playoff year.
The Canucks chartered back to Vancouver immediately after Game 2. The Rangers flew out the next day, and because of the home ice advantage, this was only their second time in an airplane in more than 2 months. It remained to be seen whether the Rangers' lack of frequent flyer miles would work to their advantage. The trip to Vancouver meant a trip back home for Ranger forward Glenn Anderson and defenseman Doug Lidster. Both scored goals in Game 2. Lidster played with the Canucks for 10 years before being dealt to the Rangers during the off-season, while Anderson grew up just 6 blocks from Pacific Coliseum and was very happy to be back playing in front of his friends and family.
I could have gone complete reversal and ended up working on Dad's fish boat. But after being sick for 4 days straight the first time I was out, I definitely didn't want to make that my career.
And we're his #1 fans.
We're coming here and watching the Orland Curtain-Backs, Andre Boudreau's, Bobby Schmotz, Cesar Maniegos, Dennis Kearns, all the old guys back in the 70s, and coming here and now playing against the Canucks who've changed their uniforms around since I watched. It's pretty special coming into this building.
That's it, Jeff.
Both teams conducted short workouts on the off day at the Coliseum. First the Canucks, then the Rangers. Vancouver coach Pat Quinn was still upset that the Rangers were able to follow through on their Game 2 promise to create more traffic and more scoring chances in front of goaltender Kirk McLean.
New York even said they didn't say they're going to run our goaltender, or they're going to be in traffic. Well, Graves was running our goaltender. And it wasn't stopped. There wasn't even a warning.
I don't think that there's any more contact with McLean, any more contact with McLean as opposed to contact with Richter.
The beautiful landscape of Vancouver, British Columbia. This the spectacular Capilano Suspension Bridge, the longest of its kind. It's evident that support for the Canucks has been unwavering since their playoff run began. The city caught up in Canucks fever. Everywhere you turn, it's go Canucks go, even at the site of the new home arena under construction. Vancouver is home to Stanley Park, named by Lord Stanley himself. Downtown, the cup bearing his name was on prominent display for all Vancouverites to appreciate. Like their counterparts in New York, Canuck fans were in a feisty yet festive mood before Game 3.
Don't let these Ranger fans in.
Papa, will you marry me?
Inside, Canucks defenseman Brian Glynn limbering up and perhaps wondering what's in store for Game 3. Out of the Rangers' shadow stepped the Russian rocket, Pavel Bure.
Lube shot it to the line, and out to center. Here's Bure. Some start for Pavel Bure. He's had 2 shifts. He scored a goal on the breakaway. His second shift, he drew a penalty. What a start for him.
You're looking at a 5'10", 187-pounder going against 6'5", 225-pound Jeff Vukovic. And when Bure was trying to get the puck in front, it was a dead heat, folks.
The Rangers withstood Bure's early pressure, then tied the game on a fluke play.
Angelina couldn't get it out. Leach sends it in again, and it's in! Brian Leach! A misplayed puck by Pat McLean!
We were trying to survive there, and to get a break like that, and all of a sudden you're tied up, you know, it probably deflated them more than it helped us.
And if that doesn't go in, maybe the whole scenario doesn't happen. I mean, there's always ifs, ands, or buts, but you'd like to have that one back.
Then late first period, Bure and Jay Wells along the boards. Bure's high stick cut Wells on the nose.
I think he gets a 5-minute plus a game misconduct here because Jay Wells was cut.
Bure, a 5-minute major for high sticking and a game misconduct.
Contrary to this batter, it was the Canucks up a creek without Pavel. 1 minute after his ejection.
Nemchinov down the slot, score! On a deflection by Glenn Anderson. The Rangers have the lead.
Nemchinov made a great move on the blue line and fought off two of the Canucks, and I just went to the net, and Sergei shot the puck, and I deflected it, and I was fortunate enough that it held up to be the game-winning goal.
Late second period, Leach scored again, rebounding the shot by Esa Tikkanen. Rangers take a 3-1 lead on Leach's 9th goal of the playoffs. Then just 25 seconds into the third, another lucky bounce for New York.
Larmer all alone, deflected, score! A second fluke goal! This one shot in by Larmer, it wasn't on net, and it ends up at the back of the twine.
Nothing going right for Vancouver in Game 3 with the exception of keeping Mark Messier off the score sheet. Sean Antoski with the facial, but Game 3 belonged to the Rangers.
And the Rangers leading 4-1. Here's a chance for Kovalov. He scores! Alexei Kovalov! And the Rangers have 2 down and 2 to go for the Stanley Cup.
We did get a couple of lucky breaks tonight, but I think, you know, when you're working hard, you're going to make those breaks happen, and you know, that's one thing I think that this team does well is we work hard, and we played hard for 60 minutes tonight.
Pavel's penalty, taking him out of the game, took the fans out of the game, and then that second basically lucky goal that we got really took the wind out of their sails.
I tried to hit him with my shoulder, and I think my stick just slid on his shoulder and it hit him in the face. Lots of guys told me I should get, you know, 2 full minutes, but not kicked out from the game.
I mean, in the eye, above the eye or whatever, and you know, it's, you know, sitting from the bench, they can't tell. Anyways, you know, it was, you know, right along the side of the board, so they couldn't see it or whatever. But I don't know if you call 4 stitches and a broken nose hurt or not. I don't know.
Was it a high sticking? Sure, but we had that 4-minute penalty. We have 2, 4, and the 5, and he elected to take the 5. Unfortunate call for us, no question.
We certainly feel we can play with this team and beat them, and you know, the 5-1 loss, it's kind of lopsided on the scoreboard, but we didn't think it was that drastic of a difference between the 2 teams tonight.
We got to change this series into the best of 9. This is so good. What a war.
Let me get out over in the middle of the ice before you go.
The corner. We're going in this corner. That corner?
Pat Quinn gave his players a day off before returning to practice on Monday, June the 6th. The Canucks, as well as the Rangers, playing hockey for the first time ever in June. Vancouver must be concerned about their power play because through 3 games against New York, having the man advantage has been no advantage. The Canucks were 0 for 17 on the power play.
We've said it before, but the power play wins and loses hockey games, and we've definitely got to get it going.
They're so aggressive. They come from every angle, and
You know, they're a little unorthodox in the fact that you know, they're not stationary. They keep moving and they really check hard. And there's no set way they go about it. They just come at you from every angle, so it's tough.
By the time you set it up again for that shot, you know, it's 30 seconds, and then they shoot it down again. So, you know, 2 shots aren't good enough on a power play.
The Rangers took to the ice on both off days prior to Game 4, but it wasn't all just business as usual. Several players practicing their best imitation of Hall of Famer Bobby Orr, who scored the Stanley Cup winning goal way back in 1970. After practice, a good luck lunch provided by Glenn Anderson's mom, Ann.
Ever since I was coming here with the Edmonton Oilers, Mom made her famous salmon sandwiches, and the guys loved them.
Who's the geek of the leotards? That's a Ranger fan. Canucks rule #1, always happy and always And we're going to a band, hey! $10 to Ranger fans! $10 to Ranger fans, $3 Canuck fans! Get your towels!
The Canucks, down 2 games to 1, were loose prior to Game 4.
Okay. Oh, sticking to the numbers.
Sean Antoski and Dave Babich with a little pregame football toss.
See you later. See you later.
Then it's off to get dressed. For the real pregame warm-up, they were a bit more serious. Trevor Linden opened the scoring.
Brown to Lume. The shot. The Canucks' first power play goal, and it's 1-0.
Less than 3 minutes later, the team's skating 4-on-4.
Plays it for Bure, one-on-one with Zubov. Zubov in front, Bure the move. Bure the backhand. Bure tried to draw it. Ronning scores! Cliff Ronning!
The Canucks have their first 2-goal lead of the series.
We came down in the dressing room 2-0, but it could have very easily been 2-2. And I think that gave us a little confidence just to go out there and play well for the next 40 minutes.
We still realized there was lots of hockey left, and we kind of methodically wanted to grind it out and start taking it away from Vancouver and shift the momentum, so to speak. And you know, Brian Leetch did that for us.
Leetch looks to the net and shoots. He scores! Brian Leetch with his 10th goal of the playoffs cuts the Rangers' deficit to 1.
Mike Richter kept that deficit at 1 with some terrific play in net.
Keeps it alive. Good quickness by Ronning. He cuts in. Ronning shoots. Saved by Richter. Good save by Richter coming out. Lume with a puck. He cuts in. Saved by Richter. Another save by Richter. Another save by Richter. And he made another one. 5 saves by Mike Richter.
Just moments later,
Leetch looking for help. Comes to center. Bure! Pavel Bure! Hooked down! Will it be a penalty shot? Yes!
There never has been a penalty shot goal in the Stanley Cup final. Get your cardiologist. Can't take much more of this. Pavel Bure getting set. Everyone on their feet at Pacific Coliseum. Here comes Bure against Mike Richter. Saved by Richter! Saved by Richter! Stopped by Richter!
He burned me in a real similar situation in the other game. Right in the first period, I came out and he found a hole between my legs, so I really wanted him to dig this time, and it worked out.
He backed up right away, so he didn't give me any room. I tried to dig him, but he didn't give me any room.
Mike Richter is one of the main reasons why we're here today, and that was the biggest stop he's ever made in his career, I'm sure.
And it also reminded many of the All-Star game save Richter made against Bure. Pavel using the same exact move. Richter's heroics sparked the Rangers in the final minute of period number 2.
Zubov fakes, shoots again, score! Sergei Zubov! It's a power play goal, and the game is tied.
And Ranger fans back in New York watching on the big screen at the Garden are ecstatic. Midway through the third, the score tied at 2. The Canucks with more problems on the power play.
Lume controlling the puck, passes over to Brown, moving in, back to Lume, winding up, back to Brown, back to Lume, not getting shots, crowd getting impatient. Lume tries the right side now as the penalties to Tikkanen and Didick expire.
And the Canucks took a bad penalty in the offensive zone.
Smart and Jelena, what are you thinking?
I wasn't too happy with the call, and I mean, it wasn't a good move from it wasn't a good timing for myself to take a penalty. I'm not saying I did deserve it, but they called it and it cost us the game.
With Jelena in the penalty box, New York was on the power play.
Here's Leach. 1:35 to go on the power play. Coming down to 5 minutes to go. Third period, 2-2 the score. Ryan Leach moves in around Glenn. He turns, he fakes. Kovalov scores! A power play goal! Alexei Kovalov gives the Rangers a 3-2 lead.
I'm trying to help out my team, every chance I can, both ends. And, we do it as a team. I've gotten some good breaks here in this series, but right from Richter and Bukaboom and big goals from Larms and everyone, it's just, it's been a team effort.
Well, he was my hero tonight, as I told him on the ice. Brian Leach is a phenomenal hockey player.
Just now is he kind of entering into that plateau where the greats have played. I mean, he's dominating the games the way, I've said it before, the way the greats have in the past, but defensively and offensively, the mix is just incredible.
The best thing about him, he's a hang of a person. He's very unselfish, and he's a great team leader, and all the guys are real happy to see him playing this way.
The Rangers putting the final touches on one of the most memorable Stanley Cup playoff games in recent times.
Larmer looking, shoots in, off a skate, it goes in! It went in off Babbage! The Rangers score and lead 4-2!
Yes! Yes!
Party,
If it wasn't for some great goaltending on Mike Richter's part, we might have been down by a few more. Unfortunately enough, he kept us in there and gave us a chance to come back in the game.
So we're not going to give up. We're not going to go out to New York and lay down and get slaughtered. We're going to go out and put our best game forward and count on winning in the Game 6. If we win in New York, you'll see us back in New York for Game 7.
We're quite aware of the history of Vancouver coming back against Calgary, and we have to be prepared for that.
The toughest game to win is the fourth game.
One step away, exactly, but it's the longest step.
And that's the most difficult game to win.
We're just happy to have the opportunity to do it back in New York.
The place is going to be madhouse.
Rangers! This is it. We want cup. This is it. The wait is over.
At 102.7 WNEW-FM, the champagne is on ice. The police are going to be ready.
Rangers with a 3-1 lead over the Vancouver Canucks can wrap up their first Stanley Cup since 1940.
I'm so nervous. What if they don't do it? They're going to do it. They're going to win.
Yes, the Stanley Cup was in the house. Several hours before Game 5, the real Stanley Cup was wheeled into Madison Square Garden and safely secured just several feet away from an empty Rangers dressing room. Hockey's most prestigious trophy, receiving slightly less security than did the Canucks upon their Garden arrival. A full-blown police escort for the Vancouver team bus, the kind usually reserved for foreign dignitaries. New York City's finest were gearing up for a championship celebration, as were Ranger fans. Mike Keenan was right. Madison Square Garden was a madhouse for Game 5. Among the notables on hand, JFK Jr. and Daryl Hannah, actors Michael J. Fox and Danny Aiello, Mr. and Mrs. Donald Trump, Ranger fans reaching new decibel levels, continuing their tradition of drowning out John Amarante's rendition of the national anthem.
Everything hard. Containment. We need containment, boys.
The Canucks and Rangers were scoreless in the first period, and then a controversial call.
Big shot. Score! No goal. Offside. Oh, they take it off. The crowd's going wild. Take another look here. 3 Rangers near the blue line. There's the puck. There's the puck. There's the puck. That is not offside.
A scuffle followed the offsides call. The Rangers lost not only a goal, but also a defenseman. Jeff Bukaboom ejected for instigator.
That was a tough loss for us. An undisciplined play on Jeff's behalf. He was definitely the third man in, but a tough call as well.
Still scoreless opening seconds of the second period. Adam Graves stopped cold on the breakaway by Kirk McLean.
Take over our game now, boys. Take it over. Keep shooting, Adam.
Finally, the Canucks open the scoring.
55 to go in the second as Ronning comes across. Nice pass. Brown shoots and scores. Oh, what a pass.
Jeff Courtnall received a 5-minute major penalty for elbowing Sergei Zubov, but the Rangers could not convert on the power play. They came out for the third period, trailing the Canucks 1-0. Just 26 seconds in, Courtnall off the rebound, snapping his personal 13-game goal-scoring drought. 2-0 Vancouver, and there's more to come.
Leaves it for Bure. Bure drives it, saved by Richter. The rebound score!
Went out for Brian Leach. And Vancouver's exploded here for 2 goals within the first 3 minutes of the third period.
3-0 Canucks, and the crowd at Madison Square Garden was silent. But like Game 4, the Rangers struck back.
Kovalev in the corner to Doug Lidster. Lidster fires it in. Score!
Stay with it, boys. We're the one leading here. Let's be smart. Come on, Black.
Weimer sends it back a little deeper. Set up from front. Nemchinov in front. Block. Weimer scores! Steve Weimer! Anderson, beautiful feed to Messier. Messier shoots. Score! Oh, baby! The game is tied!
You gotta jump the check and pin it all like that! Pin it all! Pin it all!
When it went 3-3, it looked pretty tenuous because we were back on our heels there.
I thought it's still lots of time, still 10 minutes to go, and I didn't know what's going to happen, but I thought we could score another one.
When we did battle back to make it 3-3, maybe we got a little bit too much ahead of ourselves. And
Kirk, were you aware that they were already starting to sell Stanley Cup T-shirts out on the street when it went 3-3?
Well, how could I be aware? We were a little rattled, no question, after having a 3-goal lead cut down. We were composed, and everyone just said, just keep banging away and keep getting the puck at Richter, because we knew that's where the action was, and that's where the rebounds were coming.
Don't miss assignments here! Stop and go hockey! Come on, come on, come on! Come on, one shot!
Just 29 seconds after Messier tied the game.
Pablo Bure back. 3-on-2 for the moment. Rangers get back. Shot. Score! The Vancouver Canucks take advantage!
As soon as I got the pass, I seen Richter wasn't, coming across too quick, and then I just shot the puck at the net and opened my eyes when the red light went on, and it was a good feeling.
Come on, boys, we'll get one! Hold these guys! All right, all right!
The Canucks continue to pour it on.
Yerke Lume gets to the red line. Got it through Lafayette. Quick shot, save, rebound, score! Jeff Courtnall. It's 5-3.
Make sure your sticks are all right now. Make sure your sticks all right here, kid. Look at your sticks all right here.
With a 2-goal lead, Tim Hunter making sure his teammates are not using any illegal sticks, which could result in a penalty. Although not everyone was as concerned as Tim. The Canucks scoring 5 goals in the third period, equaling a Stanley Cup Finals record.
Rebound! Pablo Bure! Another rebound! Another goal! It is 6-3 Vancouver!
This has been a wild period. The emotions of Ranger fans, it's got to be like torture.
What a shocker!
all talk about, the party and the parade that was going to go on. That was enough focus we needed. I mean, we knew that, that's what we heard on the news.
It gives you a little more inspiration when you see them planning the celebration already.
As soon as I saw the headlines, I I said we were in deep trouble because if I was Pat Quinn, I wouldn't have to say a word. I just put up the paper in the dressing room and let it go from there.
You know, Vancouver's a good team. They played desperate. They played well tonight, and we're going to have to come with our best effort if we expect to beat them. And until then, we probably shouldn't expect to beat them.
Murray Craven was laughing after the game, saying, "Yeah, I was out there for 4 shifts. We scored 2 and they scored 3." So, I mean, you know, it was a different game, that's for sure.
We got to go to Vancouver now in the game 6.
Mark Messier making his way out to the team bus. The Rangers chose to remain home in New York overnight. They flew out to Vancouver the next morning.
Hold the party. Hold the party.
The Vancouver Canucks arrived home to a hero's welcome in the wee hours of the morning. But you have to wonder, are these guys the Canucks or the Beatles? The enthusiasm for the Canucks spilling over to the local airwaves with this tune serenading the Rangers.
Check out the sides of Mark Messier's head. We've waited so long, baby, 24 years. Now Mike Keenan's crying his Vancouver cheers. We want that cup.
The Canucks opted not to practice following Game 5, but they did show up at Pacific Coliseum for meetings and to spend some time in their hyperbaric chamber. Vancouver is the only team in the NHL which owns one of these oxygen chambers. The purpose to speed the healing of injuries by increasing the amount of oxygen in the blood.
I think it works better with some injuries than others. I think that, throughout the playoffs, it's been helpful in recovery, especially with the travel we've gone through.
I think it helps, even if it's mental, as long as it helps, as long as it makes you feel better, it's all right.
Just as they did on their last trip to Vancouver, the Rangers came over to the Coliseum straight from the airport and held a short workout. Some controversy creeping into Rangers camp with published reports that coach Mike Keenan was on the verge of accepting a job with the Detroit Red Wings.
This whole nonsense about me leaving New York, I mean, there's no foundation to it. There's no truth to it. It's absolutely unfounded. There's nothing to it, but every day there's a different angle, a different story, a different distraction. And that's why people haven't been able to win there in 54 years, because of all the things you have to deal with.
Game day outside Pacific Coliseum. The marquee says New York is worried, but as expected, the Rangers did show up for Game 6, as did Pavel Bure and the rest of his Vancouver Canuck teammates. In the bowels, center Cliff Running, working on a stick handling before the biggest game of his NHL career, while New York's Greg Gilbert fulfills an interview request. And Canucks defenseman Jeff Brown spends a few minutes in the stands working on his mental preparation.
I love these guys! You win the cup! 1940! 1940! 1940! Let's go Rangers! Let's go Rangers!
Farrah Fawcett and Ryan O'Neal among the celebrities in the crowd, along with Susan Sarandon and MacGyver, Richard Dean Anderson.
Tonight I got to pull for Vancouver, and hopefully it goes back to New York, so we'll have a dramatic Game 7 at Madison Square Garden.
Mike Richter kept the Rangers in this one early. On this sequence, he comes up big with 3 saves. On the play, New York defenseman Brian Leetch was called for holding. The Canucks go on the power play.
Power play and a shot.
Leaving up.
5 minutes here, boys. 5 minutes.
Right, don't stop. Fuck, we play better. Let's continue.
And continue they did. In the second period, Pavel Bure with the blast off the face mask of Richter, who was okay. The Rangers came right back. Sergei Nemchinov to Glenn Anderson, who shoots off the crossbar. Anderson, as well as the entire Ranger bench, thought it was in. But it was ruled no goal.
Let's get our foot in the gas pedal here, boys.
Bure waits, pass to Lume, Lume for Courtnall, he moves in, and he scores!
He says no goal. Bill McCreary says yes.
Canucks leading 2-0. Mike Keenan with some instruction for his power play unit.
Puck's deep there, boys. Make the defenseman turn around.
Pass across to Kovalov. He's got it. Slides it to Messier. Messier waiting. Back to Kovalov. He's looking. And score! Deflected in! It's a power play goal! The Rangers are on the board!
Smart here.
Late second period, Pavel Bure cutting it on Richter, who comes up big once again. So the Rangers started the third period still trailing 2-1.
Comes out in front. Can he get a shot off? It's blocked by Linden. Noonan shoots, and it hit the post.
A very nice gesture by Tim Hunter. Midway through the third, Jeff Brown beats Richter for his second goal of the game. It's 3-1 for the Canucks. But if not for Richter, the Rangers could have been hopelessly behind. Bure stopped again by Richter.
This is the first time the Vancouver Canucks have won a Stanley Cup Finals game at home. Listen to the crowd from Vancouver. The Rangers will have to regroup, and if they are to break the 54-year jinx, they will do it on home ice.
We've had a chance to win in games 5 and 6. They responded. They played well. But we're looking at it as we got an opportunity to go home for Game 7 to win the Stanley Cup. And like I said, what more could you ask for than that?
If you'd have said before the series that we could win 2 games in their building, I thought we'd been in great shape. But now we got to win 3. That's quite a task to accomplish. But I think that we got a shot at it at least.
We feel that we can go in there and win and spoil their parade and their party and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, we're more concerned about our party and what we're going to do back here.
They have every reason to have confidence, but we're a good team. We have a lot of confidence in ourselves, and we're going to be a tough team to beat too.
You've got 2 hockey teams that are very desperate to win the Stanley Cup, and it's come down to the 7th game. Let's let it go.
There's only one Stanley Cup and only one team gets on it, and that's what we want.
Yes, there would be practice tomorrow for the Canucks, but first, the fans take to the streets of downtown Vancouver to celebrate the Game 6 win. July 4th and New Year's Eve all rolled into one. One last practice in Vancouver. One last practice in New York. One last road trip for the Canucks. Yet one more request for an autograph.
Take care.
Thanks.
I don't know. Mike, get your autograph?
Always get the men in blue.
I appreciate it.
That's Mike Hart, double parked out there.
Don't worry about it. You're covered.
One last morning skate on game day at Madison Square Garden. And one mayoral visit from Vancouver.
Well, this will be a game that goes down in hockey history.
Game 7's the biggest game in my career, no question about it.
Well, it will be, biggest game in my life, and I think it's for our team too.
I'm very nervous, but I got a cup, I got the champagne, and we're going to do it tonight. Go Rangers!
Leafs playing at a +19. The best in the playoffs, and his 33 points also number 1. Messier moving in. Messier to the middle, looking for help. Dropped it off. Zubov. Leaks open net. Score! Brian Leaks! 1-0 Rangers!
Just across the street from Madison Square Garden, Ranger fans celebrated the early lead at Cook Shores. 3.5 minutes later, New York on the power play.
And they've got a chance here with a 1-0 lead to extend it with 5:20 to go in the first. Kovalev room. Messier in the middle shot. Great! He scores! Adam Graves! 2-0 Rangers!
Pavel Bure with yet another opportunity. More frustration for the Russian Rocket.
The skate of Shalina. He's hip checked by Leach. Look who's driving to the net, and he's upended. That's McTavish by Hennigan.
Kiprios hit first into the boards on the far side.
In In the second period, the Rangers lost defenseman Jeff Bukaboom for the game after he collided with Sean Antoski. New York was forced to go with 5 defensemen the rest of the way. And just minutes later, on a delayed penalty call,
They don't get it. It's going to be a break for Trevor Linden. He moves to the net, and he scores! What an effort by Trevor Linden.
Canuck fans watching the proceedings at Pacific Coliseum.
Noonan turns, puts it in front, missed by Graves. Noonan's backhander save, and they score! Messier! It's a power play goal!
Mark Messier's 12th goal of the playoffs, giving the Rangers a 3-1 lead, and Madison Square Garden was rocking.
Final seconds of the second period. Standing ovation. The Rangers are 20 minutes away.
But the Canucks, with the man advantage, would not go easy. Trevor Linden, with his 12th goal of the playoffs, cut the Ranger lead to 3-2. The Garden Party was put on temporary hold.
Lead for Nathan Lafayette, moving in on Zubov. He shoots, save Richter, and McTavish got to the rebound. Pass the running, now to Jelena, hit the post, and it's cleared by Lowe. Toward goal center, saved by Richter.
Some excellent goaltending by Richter left him tired and thirsty, and Mark Messier came to the rescue. Meanwhile, in a back room, the Stanley Cup was being prepared for presentation.
They're on their feet, fans of all ages.
Madison Square Garden standing in unison.
Boy, is this tension or what? 28.2 seconds remaining.
Puck is dropped. Put to the boards at the near side. Messier flipping it ahead. Lommer couldn't get to it. Ends up back behind the Ranger goal. Graves there. Try to clear. Molesto takes. Put in front, but it's cleared by Zubov. Graves try to clear out of the bunker. Now Borre takes. Shot from the point. Stick save made by Richter. We're down to 10 seconds. Ends up back behind the goal. Cannot work it around the board. Ends up being cleared by Graves. Shooting all the way down. And that will do it. 2 seconds. 1 second. It is all over. No, wait a moment. Apparently, icing was called.
Neil Smith hasn't won it yet. Hold the celebration one more time. 54 years of curses and jinxes. 54 years of heartache. The chant of "We want the cup." They have put that 5/10 of a second. 1.6 on the clock. Here it is. The waiting is over. The New York Rangers are the Stanley Cup champions! And this one will last a lifetime! No more curses! This is unbelievable! Let the celebration begin! 1940!
It's a dream come true. To be honest, it hasn't sunk in, but it's just a satisfaction. You know that what you set out to do at the very beginning of this year, what you wanted to do at the end of a disappointing year last year, what you worked all your life for is finally right here. And as slow as that clock was moving during the game, I don't ever want it to end now. Well, it's a pretty special moment, obviously. I think it rates up to with my first cup. Special for Ranger fans and particularly special for the Ranger organization myself.
It's not a better feeling in the world.
Anything like you dreamed?
No, I can't wait to go to away rink so they can chant 1994.
The most valuable player in the Stanley Cup playoffs is Brian Leach.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Stanley Cup!
Well, New York, after 54 years, your long wait is over. Captain Mark Messier, come get the Stanley Cup.
Messier. Born, reared, and 5 times the Stanley Cup champion in Edmonton, has taken the Stanley Cup on behalf of the New York Rangers.
And there he is. The Messiah has delivered.
He's looking up at his family right now saying, I can't believe it.
This whole experience from September till now has been just an unbelievable experience for, I think, for everybody involved. And I'm so absolutely so numb right now. I don't even know what to say. I don't know what I feel. I'm just damn happy it's over.
Kevin Lowe, a great champion. And there's the great one, Brian Leach.
Mark kept telling me that 4th game will be the toughest game you'll ever have to win in your life. And it was even tougher than he told me it was going to be. It's just an amazing feeling. In 54 years, that's something I'm really happy for the fans. But this cup is the guys work hard for it, and it's unbelievable.
Jay Wells, 15 years. Oh, look at that. 15 years he's waiting for that. Essa taking it. Yes, the curse is over.
The cup over to the coach, Mike Keenan.
The greatest thing is to sit there with your team and know that they were committed from day one and they pulled it off. They were the lead horse going into it, and that's where they ended up. I'm very, very proud of them.
Right now, it's kind of an empty feeling. I think that, it's tough. I mean, we were at 3-2. We really felt we could come back. We felt like it was just one chance away.
My guts are pretty well sore right now, but my heart is very proud of those guys.
Oh, the curse is history. This is destiny. It's a dream come true for this Canadian kid, that's for sure.
Mr. President?
Yes?
Brian Leach is on the line. Go ahead, sir.
Brian,
Mr. President,
congratulations, man.
thank you very much.
I've been sitting here alone in the White House watching this, cheering for you, biting my fingernails, screaming and yelling. It's been great. It was a wonderful game.
Thank you very much. It was a tough one. We worked awful hard for it, and it's awful sweet right now.
And all you say is, I'm going to be Sittler, I'm going to be Bobby Clark. You name all your heroes, and you play for it in your basement every day. And you even stick your sister in goal and fire tennis balls at her till she's blue in the face.
And break Mom's couches to make goalie pads.
And then it comes true and you're going, holy, it's unbelievable. I think I'm dreaming.
1994, yeah! No more 1940, yeah!
3 days later, the new Stanley Cup champions were the toast of the town, honored at a festive ticker tape parade attended by 1.5 million of their fans, delighted to celebrate the end of the 54-year drought, a parade that concluded on the steps of City Hall.
One is unbelievable. There's only one thing better, and that's two. Heave ho, 2 in a row. Heave ho, 2 in a row. Heave ho, 2 in a row.
Most of all, I want to thank the best people in the world, and that's you. We did this for you. Fans, thank you.
Mike Keenan also said is that you win at this and we'll walk together for the rest of our lives. Having experienced this before, I can honestly tell you that is the honest truth, that we will walk together for the rest of our lives.